Gaming laptops usually are overpriced for what they offer. Still, the MSI Katana 15, this is the RTX 4070 version that we have here today, is a good compromise. You can use it in different scenarios without leaving too much performance on the table, depending on what performance you are aiming for. Alright guys, here we have our Katana 15 and the power supply. So this is what you get on the box, nothing else. The power supply, which is a 200 watt of power supply, and the laptop itself. In certain cases you might get a gaming mouse or a gaming mouse pad, it depends on when you live. So as you can guess from the name, this is a 15-inch laptop with the RTX 4070 inside. So going through some specs, the Katana 15 B12V has a 12th gen Intel CPU inside. This configuration has 16 gigs of RAM and 1 TB. Now speaking about designs and materials, I have to say that all the materials are made good, so there is no sound. The assembly is well done, so there is no sound, cracking sound on when you touch stuffs, and nothing is where it shouldn't be. So in this point of view, here we have done a nice job. Of course, this is not the most thinnest laptop, as you can see here. It's not one of the thinnest laptops, but anyway, we have this kind of texture. I don't know if you guys are able to see this kind of texture here, which gives kind of gamery stuff, and yeah, that's it. So the dimensions of this thing are 360 millimeter with 260 millimeter and 200 millimeters here. So this is not, again, not the thinnest laptop, gaming laptops out there, but anyway, it is what it is, and the weight is almost 2.5 kilos, if I'm not remembering it wrong. So let's go through some details about ports and connection. This laptop has a Wi-Fi 6E. On this side we have the power plug here. This is the grid for the CPU heat, if I'm not wrong. We will get to that in a minute. Here we have the USB ports. This is a USB 3.2 Gen 1 and this is a USB 3.0. And on the back of the laptop there is nothing, only the grid for the dissipating the heat. We will get to that in a minute. And on this side we have the LAN port, HDMI, USB Type-C with a display port, and another USB 3.2 Gen 2 port. And here we have a combo 3.5mm jack. And here is the RGB keyboard with a numpad on the side. As we can see, we have these 4 keys, which is WSD keys, which are different colors from the other keys, just for remarking the thing that this is a gaming laptop. And also here we have the power button, which have a different color. So the keyboard here can be controlled through the MSI software. We will get to that also in a minute. The keys on this keyboard are not bad at all. I have to say they are comfortable. You can just game for a couple of hours. In my case, nothing happens and all things are working perfectly. This is not any keyboard, of course, so the feeling is different and the response time are different, but anyway, this is a really nice keyboard, I have to say. And here on this part here we have also a webcam with 2 microphones. This webcam doesn't have any cover on it, which I don't understand really in terms of cost and project wise and whatever you have to project a laptop. Really making a cover here is something that is completely inexpensive. I don't understand why it's not there, but anyway. On the back of the laptop here we have this grid for all the ventilation. Here, as we can see, you can even see underneath this that are all the heat pipes and everything. We will get to that in a minute. We will tear down the laptop and check how is all the cooling system and how you can upgrade this laptop. But anyway, as we can see, this is a nice thing. So as we can see, we have also this feet here and also this bumper for letting the airflow going through this way. So let's tear down the laptop and check how everything is inside. Before moving into all these details, I want to ask you guys a huge favor. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and hit the like button. That will help a lot the channel and allow me to bring more content like this. Thanks a lot for your support. Alright, here we got the cover removed. As we can see, nothing special here, just the cover itself with all the grid and for the dissipation and everything. And here this is a piece of metal here, which I don't quite understand why is here, because it corresponds to this part here, which doesn't have nothing special here. But anyway, here we have this piece of metal, probably for balancing the weight because it's near to the battery, but nothing, or for dissipating some heat can be, but they should have put some grid here. Quite strange. So let's get to the details of what's here. So starting from the cooling, which is the most important thing in a laptop. So as we can see, we have these 6 pipes here with these 2 fans. This is the smaller one, which is the one for the CPU, and here we have the fan for the GPU. So they're sharing the same heat pipes for dissipating all the heat, and I have to say the temps are really good for what I'm testing. And here we have the memory slots. We have 2 memory from 8 gigs. You can update up to 64 gigs if I'm not wrong. And here is the Wi-Fi, and here we have one of the 2 NVMe slots. Here there is the pre-installed NVMe of 1 TB, and and the other one is here, which I don't understand how you can install an NVMe here. You have to remove this piece here, but then you have to install it, but there is nothing, there is no support here on how you can install it. Probably they're selling something for when you have to install some adapter for installing the second NVMe. Strange choice in my opinion. And here we have the battery of 52 watt per hour. This is pretty standard battery in this kind of laptop, so it should last at least 3 hours more or less in surfing the web, on watching videos with a normal power profile. Here we have the two speakers, which are about 2 watts if I'm not wrong. Nothing special here, but anyway you can listen more or less properly for what is a laptop. Sure, there are not high quality and premium speakers, but they do their job anyway. And here we have the two USB ports on this side here, and as we can see they have the flat here, so you can eventually you can change these USB ports. This can be a really nice idea for changing this USB port here. I don't know if they sell it, but anyway you have the chance to change it here. So let's install back the cover and check some benchmarks and some gaming tests. So guys, here we have the BIOS, nothing special here. System date, system language, whatever, storage, system information to check all the infos about your system. Here on the advanced tab there are some settings, nothing special except this one, which is the user scenario, which I've set it to performance mode. Keep in mind that this laptop has the voltage block. We will check this in the software settings in a couple of minutes, but here we have this performance mode. This should enable a little bit of performances on this laptop and kind of unlock or increase the voltage of both CPU and GPU, which is a strange choice in this case. I don't know why they have chosen to, probably for thermals or whatever reason, to block the voltage. So let's move on into Windows and check some settings on the software. As I was mentioning earlier, you can't overclock this laptop and you can't overclock the CPU or the GPU. This, for example, is the MSI Afterburners, or if you go to the curve editor and you want to go through the OSI scanner, you will, if you click on scan, it will give you an error. So this is the first thing that will let you understand that you cannot change any kind of voltage on your GPU. Sure, you can change some core clocks or some memory clock. You can overclock a little bit, but then you will get higher temps. So my suggestion here is to leave it as it is, and then we will check it as it is with these settings, how are they going to perform on gaming. Same thing for the CPU. This is the Intel Extreme Tuning utility that you can use for quickly overclock your CPU. As we can see here, overclocking is disabled on the system, so you cannot overclock nothing. Same thing also here, you can just leave it as it is and test the settings. This should be okay. I believe they have done this for just to keep under control the temps and to give you more or less the best performances you are expecting. Alright guys, here we have MSI Center, the software for controlling certain settings on your laptop. One settings that I find useful is the user scenario, which get the name from the BIOS settings. So let's open it up and check some settings here. As we can see, we can choose between different user scenarios. This is a AI Smart Auto, which can automatically change certain settings depending on what activities are you doing on your laptop. Or you can go through extreme performance, balanced silent, and super battery. Here we have the GPU switch. So the system is going to decide, depending on the application that you are using, on the game that you are gaming, it's going to decide on which graphics mode is going to be applied. So in this case, there is the MSI hybrid graphics mode, so the laptop and these settings here will decide on which GPU is going to switch depending on what application you are using. You can also change it to run always on discrete graphics mode. You can try it on yourself depending on what kind of apps you are using here. So moving back here, another thing that might be useful, another piece of thought might be useful is the Mystic Light. So here you can change the RGB of the keyboard. In this case I've chosen color cycle, but you can choose whatever all the settings you want. You can just click on apply, then will apply the effects on your keyboard. You can even decide to turn it off completely, so you won't have any kind of RGB or any kind of lights on your keyboard. One important thing to keep in mind, guys, is that the RTX 4070 here in the Katana 15 is running in PCI 4 but with 8 PCI lanes, as we can see here from the GPU-Z infos. So just keep in mind this important info. So here we got Cinebench R23 in multi-core. We have 11715 and the maximum temp here it was 95 degrees. This is with the extreme performance settings on MSI Center, so you will even listen the fan spinning. So in Cinebench R23 we're getting about 1491 points and the temps is about 90 degrees, more or less similar as with a multi-core. And here we have some 3D Mark scores. As you can see, guys, this is pretty decent result here, so you can really in 1080p or even in 1440p you can really get the most of it. So let's go through also some gaming bench.
There's the car, so where's the deputy?
Eaten by a bear? I'll check out that map. Worth memorizing before we get swallowed up by the trees.
I should take a look at that map.
He's using recon. Friendly UAV online. You're Bravo.
Got the sniper! I got your six!
Securing objective Charlie. Objective Bravo secure. We control all objectives. We're losing Alpha. Friendly airstrike in AO. Enemy securing Bravo. Friendly VTOL inbound.
Sit, bastard! Throwing flash grenade!
The enemy holds 2 objectives. Move on them now.
Switching mags!
인체의 안전한 수준을 유지한 것으로 나타났습니다.
Wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
I'm busy at the moment.
You know, there's nothing wrong with breakfast for dinner or lunch or dessert. Have a good one. Kind of busy right now.
All this stuff falls into that category. No time to chat. Excuse me.
Or it's like you're playing the menu's greatest hits.
This place takes me back.
How so?
That was right after everything went down. I ended up in a triage just like this. And everywhere you looked, you just saw families torn apart. And the whole damn world seemed to have turned upside down in a blink.
Is that after you lost Sarah?
Yes, it was.
I can't imagine losing someone you love like that. Losing everything that you know. I'm sorry, Joel.
That's okay, Ellie.
Having a look at all the temps overall are not bad. Sure, it depends on what kind of profile on MSI Center is used and if the fans are running at max speed. But not having the chance to underwork the GPU and CPU is also a thing to keep in mind when it comes to temps. The battery is a 53 watt per hour and allows about 3 hours in normal tasks or watching videos. This value can change depending on what are your tasks and settings. But anyway, for the best performance, especially in gaming, you have to plug in the power adapter. The price of the MSI Katana 15 B12V or B13V, which has the Intel 13 Gen, is between $1,199 and $1,699, depending on the configuration, of course. In the last Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the RTX 4070 version that we have here was below even $1,500. And for Christmas and New Year, I believe we can see the same price or even less. So considering all these prices, in my opinion, this is one of the most affordable RTX 4070 laptops on the market. It is what I like about this laptop. It has the latest RTX 40 series inside, it comes with a decent amount of memory, and it has 1 TB of NVMe SSD that of course you can upgrade anytime you want. The keyboard has a nice feeling and a good response. The cooling of the CPU and the GPU is well done, but there are some other things I didn't like at all. Starting from a display which has really low quality. I understand it's clear MSI wanted to keep the cost as low as possible, but hey, a good display couldn't bring the cost that much up. Here you can see a side to side with another 15-inch external display. Speaking about display, the camera could have been on 1080p, and most importantly the privacy cover, which again doesn't have any relevant cost to implement it. Another huge limitation is the locked voltage, which doesn't make any sense. I assume probably they wanted to keep the temps low, but anyway the CPU and GPU have their own thermal throttle limitation. Hopefully with some BIOS updates this can be somehow corrected. If you find this video about the MSI Katana 15 B12V helpful, consider subscribing, hit the like button, and don't forget to enable the notifications. Thanks a lot for your support and thanks for watching.